Now, I'm an affiliate marketer, and my attempt with the Podcasting University is also combine affiliate marketing with podcasting. Now, affiliate marketing can be an extremely good income source if you're looking at monetizing your podcast. So, in addition to sponsorships and ads, my attempt is to show you how to use affiliate marketing in your podcast so that you can monetize your shows.
Podcasting is a nascent field in India. That being said, the population dependent on this can be divided into three categories. The first one are the people who love listening to podcasts. The second category are the people who have taken the dive and are the creators in the podcasting arena. The third category is of those who love podcasting and want to become creators but have no clue where to begin and who to approach. In addition to this, in my version, there is one more category. A category which has started podcasting but is still unaware of many of the nuances of podcasting, like content ideas, reaching the correct target audience, and many more. Hello and welcome. You are listening to one of India's top 3 podcasts on self-love and motivation, Wominspiria, the podcast which strives to bring to you people from all the walks of life possible, just because one can derive not only inspiration from their stories, but understand that every person started from scratch, did fail, got up, dusted off their fears, and are now moving towards proving the purpose of their lives by sharing their stories and guiding us. I'm your host, Revati, the Category 4 podcaster who started podcasting for the love of it, but is still an amateur in several areas of podcasting. Thanks to my passion in podcasting, due to which I have immense gratitude in inviting the mentor of the podcasting industry. Behold, Dilip sir from the Podcasting University podcast. I call him the mentor because he is one person who started podcasting as early as in 2014, when podcasting was Greek and Latin to the Indian audience. Every person who is passionate about podcasting would have come across his posts and his podcast at least once, which is actually an attempt to showcase the effort of podcasters and how they have been through the grind. And it is also helping new podcast aspirants to start their own show. So do check out his website, thepodcastinguniversity.com, for more information. So hello and a hearty welcome to my podcast, Dilip sir. Thank you very much for gracing my podcast.
Thanks a lot for inviting me on the show, Revati. I'm extremely glad, very happy to be here and, to be on a show that has been voted as, one of the top podcasts by Hubhopper Awards in the regional category. So I'm really happy, glad to be on your show, and thanks for inviting me.
Thank you very much again, sir. I'm excited, and at the same time, I'm eager that I'm going to learn more from you today.
Yeah, we're sure going to learn from each other.
Yeah. Oh, thank you very much. Okay, so to begin with, I always ask my guests the 2 affirmations that they say to mirror every morning.
Okay, so the 2 affirmations. Now, I like this quote from Jesse Jackson. It says, "Never look down upon somebody unless you're helping him up." So that's one. And the second one is that I tell myself every day in the morning that today is another new day and it holds the same amount of opportunities that it held yesterday. So don't cry for what you lost yesterday. Start afresh new, and you can do it even today. So I think those are the 2 things that I wake up in the morning with, so that I have the energy to go through the entire day.
That is really beautiful. The first one, I just really loved it, sir. That is something that every person needs to practice. And you're actually practicing it because that is what Podcasting University is all about.
Right.
So you're helping out people who really want to come up in this area. Yes.
That's right. That's an attempt that I'm trying to make, considering I've been in the digital marketing industry for quite some time now. And I've seen that in spite of the fact that there is a lot of free information that is available online, a lot of the actual structured form of education is extremely costly, and a lot of it isn't even a real value. So I've been through that, and my attempt is to provide as much value as possible to people who are looking forward to maybe starting a podcast.
That is very beautiful, sir. So, in fact, I don't know about the others, but it's been really helpful for me. And from your testimonials on the website of yours, I see that many people are getting benefited from this. So, you're really good, doing a very good job, sir.
Thanks a lot, and I hope to keep doing that.
Of course, you will, sir, because we will never leave you. Yes, sir. So, moving forward, so tell us about yourself, your professional journey, and what made you start podcasting.
So, it's a little long. The story is a little long. So, I started off with internet, as in somewhere around 2001, 2002. And when I started off, and I'll be very frank, in 2002, I didn't even know how to boot up a computer, to switch on a computer. So that's, where I started off. And once I stumbled upon, an article that was about starting a blog, writing. And I was very fond of writing. So I used to spend a lot of time, and I had diaries written with, short stories, my essays, and a lot of. So when I read about the blog, I wanted to get started, but I had absolutely no technical knowledge. That was my first entry into, the digital world. From there, it's been a long journey, and I've learned a lot, not just on the technical side of it, but on content creation and a lot of the other aspects like search engine optimization and everything. So I am an affiliate marketer. I'm a blogger. So I have a blog, and I help my wife start her own food blog. And I build a lot of niche websites that generate affiliate income. So in 2004, I happened to, and there was this blogger, Yaros Tarak, that I was following. So I used to read all of his blog posts. I had subscribed to his newsletter. So I found that he had a podcast that was on internet marketing, blogging, basically.
Okay.
And then podcasting wasn't, well known, and there weren't a lot of good podcasts out there. So this audio thing that was there on his blog was, I found it very interesting. So I tuned into it, listened to it, every now and then. But I had no clue how he was doing. I tried searching on the internet how to put an audio on a blog, and there were a lot of these plugins and all available. So, but I couldn't figure it out. So I still used to keep listening to his podcast. And around 2005, 2006 is when I came across, a couple of these articles which talked about starting a podcast, and that was on Apple. So iTunes was the only channel where it was available. So starting a podcast. And then I started putting in all of my effort, because I wanted to start a podcast, because I knew that I can do it. And considering that I was spending so much of time writing content, all I had to do was use that content and record it. So it was easy for me. So I tried a lot, and in India, there was absolutely nothing. So from a podcasting infrastructural perspective, if I'm to put it that way, there was nothing. So all that was there was, all of these US-based companies that were offering hosting. And in terms of distribution also, it was only the US-based mediums that were there.
Okay.
So, and I didn't even know if somebody in India was listening to it. But because my audience was a lot from outside of India, that wasn't a problem for me. So I said, okay, I'll still go ahead. But when I went and checked, most of these hosting platforms were paid. And it started from somewhere around $9 to $10 per month, and it would go up. So the amount of content that I was generating, I knew that I would have to spend at least about $20 per month only on the hosting, which I wasn't really prepared to do then, because I was just starting off. So I tried other mediums, other ways. And finally, what I said is, okay, let me host it on my own. I'll do it on my own. And there started my journey of learning all of the intricacies of podcast hosting. So from creating an RSS feed to putting the audio on the blog, I spent a lot of time learning all of that. Then I used Amazon S3 servers to host my audio. I generated my RSS feed and I was hosting it on my blog.
Beautiful.
That's how my first podcast started. So if you listen to the initial few episodes of the DK Speaks podcast, which now I'm rebranding as the Affiliate Marketing Simplified podcast, if you listen to the initial few episodes, you'll realize that the quality, it's way inferior, than what you would expect.
Okay.
It is because of all of these problems. But then I learned a lot. I learned what an RSS feed is, what an ID3 tag is, what does it do, what is search engine optimization for audio, and all of those things. So that helped me a lot. I started that podcast, about 51, 52 episodes is something that I did. And, for some reason, I felt that it wasn't giving me the kind of returns that I was expecting, though I was enjoying doing it. I said, as of now, maybe I should be focusing on my core activity. So I switched that off. That is where I stopped the affiliate marketing, the DK Speaks podcast. Okay. But when I switched that off, what also happened is my wife runs a food blog, the Tastes of India blog.
Yeah.
So I felt that this was a good idea because her audience was primarily India. And I'm sure if we provided a different medium to those people to consume content, I'm sure we will get an audience. So what we did is we started a podcast on her blog, which is the Tastes of India podcast. Okay. So that is something that we started somewhere around 2015 and 2016. And since then, we've continued generating content for that, podcast. They're off and on because of some emergency situations and all. There were a couple of months where we couldn't, but I think it is touching almost about 190 episodes now. And we have a good listenership and we've continued producing that podcast. Okay. So that's how, and, I never let go of the knowledge that I had gained from my first podcast, which is EDK Speaks podcast. I used all of that in the Taste of India podcast. And it's after that about a year and a half back, I started off with the Podcasting University. And now I'm rebranding the DK Speaks podcast and launching it on the 1st of January. So that will primarily be into digital marketing and affiliate marketing. So that's my journey with podcasting and, on the internet.
Beautiful. From a person who was finding it hard to boot a computer to a person who could generate his own RSS feed and is like helping people out with all these technical stuff of podcasting. So you've come a very long journey.
It is. And it has been, and I would say that if it wasn't for the internet, I wouldn't have learned so much. Like what I said, today I am, I can tear down a computer. I can build a computer. I've built my own, computer for my daughter. So today I can tear down a computer. I know, all of the technical aspects from a hardware perspective. The internet is what taught me everything about blogging, affiliate marketing, everything about digital marketing. So, and internet is what taught me about podcasting. So, if it wasn't for the internet, then it wouldn't have been possible. So, I think internet is a powerhouse if you use it the right way. Yes. And I think it is something that can give you much more than what your maybe school or your college education can give you. So, I'm really thankful to that, and that I came across the right information at the right time. If I look at it from the amount of time that I've put into it, the amount of effort that I've put into it, it needs a lot of, you have to be dedicated, and maybe there was something that was driving me from the inside, because of which I spent so much of time trying to learn that, and there was something inside me that was kind of pushing me to do it. So but it's a lot of effort, and you have to be dedicated, to do it.
Very true, sir. Yes. Okay, sir. So moving forward, since you're working on providing beginners with all the information that they need to know about podcasting, please tell us, why is podcasting a choice for any creator?
Okay, that's a good question. So, and I'll tell you about my experience, because I've done all the three mediums. I have been into textual content, I have done videos, and podcasting. So I'll tell you the difference between the three. Now, when it comes to textual content, and if you're planning to start a blog, and there are a lot of people who reach out to me even today from a blogging to starting a blog. So because that's something that we are doing on my wife's website blog, the taste of India .com, where we help people start a blog. Now, a lot of people reach out to me and ask me, why do I really need to go and learn all of the technical aspects of starting a blog? Can't I just pick a free a free website or free medium and then start a blog there? But then the fact of the matter is that if you do that, you can always do that. But if you do that, the control that you have on what you're running is very minimal, and it is you're resting that into somebody else who's running that specific platform. And a lot of things that you want to do in terms of building that blog into maybe a full-time income in maybe 5 to 6 months from now is something that you want to be able to do. And then in 6 months from now, what you will again be doing is transferring all of that to maybe a self-hosted platform, a hosting of your own, and all of that. So you need to learn a lot of these technical aspects if you need to start on the right note. That is with blogging, with textual content. Coming to the second aspect, which is video. Now, again, on video, if you look at some of the videos that I've created, even today, I'm a lot shy, camera shy. So when I go on a camera, I'm really conscious if I'm looking okay, if my or video quality is good. So all of those things are associated with video. And a lot of times these are inhibitions. So, if you give yourself or your mind even that slight reason to not do it, you won't do it. So these kind of things kind of push you from, as in keep you from doing what you want to do. But with audio, something that I've experienced is it's easy. As in fact, you don't even need a high quality setup. You can start off with a very simple microphone, a lavalier microphone, and start recording. I've heard a lot of people even using their mobile phones to record. While it might not be generating that kind of a quality, but there are apps on the mobile phone that can give you quality audio. So I've tested out this Dolby app that is there on the Android platform, which generates good quality audio. But you still need to spend some time editing, which isn't too much of Greek, because it's pretty easy if you watch a couple of videos and you can at least do the basic editing. So to get started in audio is pretty easy if you compare to any other medium, and it's pretty much similar to that of starting on social media today, because a lot of people are influencers on social media and they're doing really well. They're running a full-time business using social media. And it isn't difficult. All that you need to do is just create an account and, understand what your audience is, and then start posting content according to that. It's similar to that, but audio or podcasting, I think, is the one that has the least resistance to get started with. And hence, it is the easiest for anybody who wants to get started with it. So, and content, pretty much everything, as in even if it is textual, video, or podcast, you have to have content. So that is something that is common in all of that. The only thing, the primary difference in all of these three mediums is the way you are getting started, and the way you can churn out that content, or the way you can produce that content. And I think on those terms, audio or podcasting is probably the easiest and the simplest to get started with. Get started, and the rest of the things you will learn as you keep doing it. And if you listen to some of the most established podcasters as well, as in even for that matter, some of the most established ones in the United States, who've had almost like 500, 600 episodes. For that matter, even if you listen to John Lee Dumas' Entrepreneurs on Fire, podcast, the first episode wouldn't, be as top quality as his latest episode is. Because that's how they also evolved. So just get started. And then, over a period of time, you will learn how to refine the quality, how to improve it. So all of that. So from a getting started perspective, I think podcasting is the easiest one. And, for anybody who wants to get started as a content creator, I think podcasting is the best medium. And considering that regional language is something that is still untouched in India, it is, it is probably one of the best places to get started today.
Yes, sir. Very true. So we were talking about how easy to start a podcast is. So talking about, but then again, the consumership and getting established and having the loyal audience in comparison to something like doing videos on YouTube or the textual content. How is podcasting doing in India?
See, from the, on that aspect, I think all of the three mediums are pretty much the same. So even if you were to start a video, you're not going to get audience till the time you don't do some kind of a marketing. And I know people who've started a channel just because. So I'll give you some of these examples. There were a couple of folks that have spoken to me. They were running. If you go to YouTube, you'll find that there are these meditation channels.
Yes.
Now, all that people are doing is just putting some music out there, some video out there, and they have millions of followers. Now, people look at that and they just go ahead and start a meditation channel, saying that, okay, if they have 2 million followers, I can also get that amount of followers and I can generate a lot of revenue. So they don't look at some of the other aspects of how they would have marketed or how they gained that audience. There is a certain amount of effort that is required in terms of promotion, in terms of getting that audience. Even the best show today, even the best podcast today, the hosts, or if they worked with others, the amount of time that they would have put into generating the kind of audience or the listenership for their shows, it is something that we cannot even imagine. So there is a lot of effort that is required. It is the same with blogging. It is the same with video. So you can put any number of videos on YouTube. It isn't going to generate a lot of audience for you. You have to be consistent. So if you're consistent, if you keep putting a video out there every week, you will slowly generate that audience, and then you need to do some kind of promotions here and there, collaborate with other creators. So that's how you'll generate audience. It is the same with podcasting as well.
Okay.
Just by recording an audio and putting it out there, you're not going to get audience. So you have to spend some time. Spend time, find where your audience is. As in, they could be on social media, but they might necessarily not be on Twitter. They might be on Instagram. Or if your audience is on LinkedIn, then you might want to spend time on LinkedIn. But find where your audience is, and you will have to spend time promoting your show to that audience, getting those eyeballs. Only then you'll be able to build listenership to your show. So all the three forms of content, it is pretty much the same effort. You have to put an effort to promote your show and to get the audience. If you just put content out there and think that the audience is going to come, they might come, but it will take a long time for them to come. So it is pretty much the same with all the three mediums.
Again, consistency is the key.
Absolutely. And, I can tell you that consistency can play a major part in generating content for you. And to be very frank, even for me. So when I go and when I listen to podcasts, there might be a lot of good podcasts that started and maybe stopped about 6 months back. So when I go and see, I look for the latest or the freshest content. So if there is content that is available, and if I see that they are generating content on a regular basis, then that's a podcast that I would like to follow. The other podcast which stopped about 6 months back, maybe I listened to one of their episodes, something that may have attracted me, and then I'll just leave it that way. So if you generate content, you will generate regularly, consistently. You will get a loyal audience, and over a period of time, you will be able to, it'll be easier for you to promote your show or build an audience. So that's one core aspect of getting listenership.
Okay. Right, sir. Okay. So please tell us some of the tough challenges one might face or expect, and some challenges that you as an established podcaster is still facing.
Okay, so something that face even today as content generation is, and I wouldn't say that it is a problem, but it's a challenge that every content creator will have, because he needs to come up with fresh content that his audience would like.
Okay.
So in any form of content generation, content creation, probably that is the biggest challenge. And if you don't have a plan on what is it that you want to produce in terms of the content, then uh, that is the biggest reason, that will become the biggest reason for the failure of your effort, your venture. So you have to have a plan on what is it that you want to do with content. Now, even if, for that matter, if it is about interviewing people, and there is a lot of effort that we need to put in terms of identifying a guest, reaching out to them, getting a yes from them, recording the show. So once again, it is the same piece. It is content. You want on deciding on what will be the right content for your audience, and then pursuing and getting that content generated is probably the biggest challenge. But otherwise, there are minor aspects to it, and I say minor because those are all secondary aspects to it. Some of the other things that you need to learn in terms of promoting, in terms of generating listenership and all of that. It's a secondary aspect to it, because if you don't have a content, then all of these things are irrelevant. So those are all there. But I think for me as a podcaster today is about identifying what is the content that resonates with my audience and generating that content for them. And with the amount of content that is being generated, staying relevant in that in that sea ocean of content that is out there. So I think that is the biggest challenge for me, and that is something that most podcasters would find challenging. That's what I think.
Yes. So they say bring innovative ideas into what you're doing right now. For example, if my content is all about inspiration, drawing it from real people and from their real stories. Everything is unscripted. So, but then somebody tells me bring something innovative about this. You're doing the same thing again and again. But my thing, I'm bringing a different individual every time. In my every episode, I'm bringing a new life. I'm bringing a different story. So, but then again, beyond that, people are expecting something new.
Right.
So it's and also there is one thing that has been really irking me. It is about the age group, being specifically in India. So bringing my parents, bringing my in-laws to understand what podcasting is and why should they consume it. It has been really challenging for me. So every time I release a podcast, and my first thing will be I'll go pester them to listen to my podcast, my episode. So for me, the age, what I would say is primarily the age group is a factor. So do you find that as a challenge, sir?
Is a challenge, but if I look at it from the podcast that I am releasing, for example, if it is about the affiliate marketing podcast, so I have a demographic that is already mapped. I have an audience profile that is already mapped, because I have a blog on affiliate marketing, and I know who my audience is. Similarly, with the podcasting university, I know that my audience is somebody who is looking at starting a podcast, and so the age group that I am looking at might not be somebody who isn't as tech savvy, as in who doesn't know how to operate maybe one of those podcast apps, or listen to one of those podcasts. So for me, that hasn't been too much of a challenge, because in most of these podcasts, even for that matter with my wife's The Taste of India podcast, we have a demographic that is already mapped out. We know that our 70% of our listeners are women, and in the age group, we see that almost 56% of the listeners are in the age group of less than 45, and about 20% of that is between 45 to 55. So we have that demographic mapped out, and I think that audience isn't somebody who isn't as might not be aware of how to go about listening to a podcast or tuning into a podcast app. So we didn't have that kind of challenge. But yeah, for example, the kind of niche that you are in, where it's about inspiring people, not just to get started with something, or not just to get as in get motivation to get started. It is about inspiring people to live a better life. So it is about telling them how what are the things that telling them about what is new that is happening around you, telling them about how to maybe start fresh in the morning, and what is it that you can expect from life. And so that kind of a niche, there could be that challenge. But still, I think from a podcasting perspective today, the focus for any podcaster should be on the generation, or on the age group who who knows how to use a smartphone, and who knows how to open up apps. And I'm not discounting any of the the elderly, because a lot of them have adapted to the change. They've learned how to use a smartphone. For that matter, if I compare, if I talk about my dad, my mom isn't aware of how to use a smartphone, so she isn't smartphone savvy, but my dad is. He's learned it. So a lot of people have learned it. So it's just about maybe giving them some simple guidance on how to get started, but they will. But I think your focus should more be on the people who are that smartphone savvy kind of a population.
Yes.
I haven't come across that challenge, primarily because of the niche that I am in.
See, I wouldn't say it is a comfortable niche, but you chose smart.
Yeah, I weighed all of the options and then decided to get into it, and more so because these were things that and inspiration. I wouldn't say that it isn't something that somebody wouldn't like. I would absolutely like to talk to people who are inspiration. And in a way, when I talk to people on my podcast, again, I'm doing something similar. I'm inspiring people to get started with podcasting, but then it's a tight niche thing. Okay, it's an inspiration for podcasters. So so that way. And this is something that I had knowledge of, so I thought maybe getting into it is easier for me. So yeah, you can say that maybe I chose smart.
Yes. But then it's in high demand, right? So that's what marketers do.
Right.
So, yes. Okay. So tell us more about the services that you're providing with aspect to learning for people who are into podcasting through your podcasting university website and your services.
So that's there's a lot of things that we have in plan for the next financial year as of now. And like what I said, my objective with the podcasting university, and similarly I have something on blogging as well. So my objective with this is that if you look at some of the courses that are available, some of the good courses that are available that teaches you, and information is free on the internet. We spoke about that. But the problem is that with the kind of content that is being generated today, a lot of that is in the unstructured format, and a lot of that isn't actually good information. So if you want to learn something, you have to spend a lot of time churning through content and identifying what is good content. So that is where a lot of these people put out these courses. And but something that I've seen is that a lot of these courses, if I look at it from an Indian market perspective, is something that a lot of people would probably not be be able to access it, because the cost of these courses are exorbitantly high. For example, there are some good podcasting courses that are priced somewhere around the $999, which, like, as in from an Indian market perspective, is huge money. And and I think that for people, education shouldn't be costly. So my effort with the podcasting university, the objective with which I started the podcasting university, was to ensure that I am making that kind of information available to people, not just from whatever it is that I know, but I am trying to bring in as much information possible from other experts as well, so that people have access to that information. So there are a lot of things that we have in plan for the next financial year. But as of now, what we are doing is I run a free discovery call for about 30 minutes with people who want to get started with podcasts. A lot of people, and I don't filter because, a lot of people have come to me, told me that, why don't you put a filter in place? Because a lot of people who reach out to me, have, as in, they don't have anything in place. They don't have no thought process going. They just, want to speak to somebody and they just come. So a lot of those calls, people tell me that, why are you wasting your time? You should put a filter in place. But I haven't put a filter in place because I wanted to give that equal opportunity to whosoever it is that want to understand. It's just about a 30-minute call. So, I have that in place, and I am putting together a consultation for podcasting, which I'll be launching in the next year. And a couple of other services also are in the works, and like what I said, I am an affiliate marketer, and podcasting for me wasn't something that was a primary, as in I was using podcasting as a secondary source of driving traffic to my blogs. And that is what we are doing with the Taste of India as well. So, I want to get that information out to people and tell them that, while all of us are talking about monetizing podcasts and how do we go about monetizing podcasts and all, I think there are a lot of elements that people are overlooking, maybe because they are too focused on getting sponsors and getting ads for their podcast. So I want to bring that out. So which is something that I'm putting together, and I'm planning to launch that towards the end of this year. Tentatively, my plan is to launch that towards the end of this year, or if things don't go as planned, then maybe the beginning of the next year. But that's something that is already in works, and 50% of that is already done. So that's something that I'm planning to put together.
Okay, great. So all the best for that, sir. You're actually posing a tough challenge to all the people who are selling out the materials for podcasting, to learn podcasting. Because people who are totally aloof of where to start podcasting or what podcasting exactly is, but have a passion to do that, aren't people angry on you? Because one safe thing you're doing is you're roping in the other podcasters. So, so they are actually a safe circle for you. And beyond that, people who are trying to market this, as you said, with all this, with that heavy marketing stuff and all that pomp and stuff, telling people that podcasting is actually a very tough field to pursue, and they have to invest this much of money on it. But you're really simplifying it.
So, as in, I haven't come across anything like that, and I don't think I'll ever come across. And I'll tell you why. Because, the number of people who are looking, the audience is huge, and all that I am maybe targeting is a small part of that entire pie. And everybody has a chance. Everybody has, will get a piece of it. So, while at some point we will feel that maybe I am encroaching into somebody else's category as well, but that isn't how it is. So the audience, there are distinct audience for every creator, and it has never happened that even for that matter, when I was into affiliate marketing, it can be the same product that I am promoting that somebody else is promoting. There are a lot of niche blogs out there which I too have. And those blogs still generate income for me, and at the same time it is generating income for them as well. So it is just everybody is getting a small portion of huge pie. So I don't think that there will any time be that conflict. And having said that, it also depends upon irrespective of what it is that you're putting out. So a consumer or an audience has a choice of picking what is relevant to him. So somebody who might feel that, okay, the free discovery call for 30 minutes is something that I want to do, as in might feel that, okay, that free discovery call is good for him. But at the same time, there are somebody else who thinks that, a free discovery call, I'm sure this is not going to give me any value. So I would rather go and pick a discovery call, maybe which is charging me $299 or $499 or 1,000, ₹499 or a 999 rupees. So because they think that if there is a monetary a number attached to it, then it gives me more value. So there are different kind of audiences. So I don't think that it is ever going to be like encroaching into somebody else's property. But competition is part and parcel of the digital
any
world.
field that you choose, any field,
right? And so I'm sure every creator is prepared for that.
Yes, of course. once they start creating, the first thing they need to expect is competition.
Right. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So can you tell us some of the interesting experience that you've had and you come across with new or building or people who are wanting to start podcasting? So you told me like many people reach out to you. Please share us some of the interesting.
There are a lot of interesting experiences, and I wouldn't blame people for that. It is because of the way the internet has become today. And I'll be very frank. So today, internet has become synonymous with making money and making money fast. So a lot of people, who get started with content creation, they get started with the sole objective of making money. And you go to YouTube today and type in any word that is related to making money, you will find some of these videos which have bold titles which say आधे घंटे में पैसे बनाइए. Right. So, and those have millions of views. So when people watch those kind of videos, it is natural for them to think that, okay, internet is a bank. All I need to do is just go there and withdraw as much money as possible. So that's how people start.
Yes.
And that is the kind of a lot of people who come, on the discovery call are like that. So I remember one of this guy who had come to me, and so I asked him, "Do you want to start a podcast?" So he was very nice. He was very upfront. He said, "नहीं, मेरे को podcast नहीं start करना है सर. मैं एक proposal लेके आया हूँ आपके पास." I said, "Okay, what is the proposal?" So he said, "सर आप मेरे लिए 10 episode बना दीजिए. I'll pay you for those 10 episodes, and I will use those 10 episodes as mine, and I'll use them to generate money." So I said, "So you think that with 10 episodes you'll be able to make money?" So he said, "Yes, sir. I've researched a lot. I have a lot of material, so I know that I can make money with 10 episodes. And because you have been doing it for so long, I'm sure your content will be good. You'll be able to produce good content, quality content for me.
Okay.
So just produce 10 episodes for me. You can tell me whatever it is that you want. I'll pay you for that, and I'll use the content as my own, if you're okay." So, that is how the understanding of podcasting is. People think that you can just maybe create 5 or 10 episodes and then put it out there and then start counting the number of dollars that are coming into your account. So, there are lot many such experiences that I've seen, with people coming on, and throughout the 15-20 minutes of conversation, the only question that they'll keep asking is, how soon will I start earning?
Right.
So पैसे कब बनना स्टार्ट होगा? So those are some of the typical situations that I come across. But the most interesting one was this, where somebody offered me, and for once I thought I should maybe go ahead and create those 10 episodes and charge him maybe a 50,000 or a 75,000. So, but then that's not how it works. It beats on that core concept of mine that I shouldn't be looking down on somebody unless I'm there to help them. So those and I told him, please don't go to anybody and do this, because it is not going to happen. It is not going to help you.
Right.
So that's how it is.
Right. Yeah. So it's all about, we shouldn't blame media exactly, but there are people who are misguiding others. So like once they are established, So
right. No, I agree. And that is there with pretty much all forms of content. And, the easiest way, and in marketing, when we sell something, so we say that the two easiest way of, selling something is, one, to create fear, and two, create scarcity. So you can, create that amount of fear in somebody that they just go and buy. Tell them that, okay, if you don't get this product, then you are done. There nothing is going to happen in your life. So
Yes.
they just buy it. Or I tell them that, see, I have 10 more minutes. You buy it right now, or else in the next 10 minutes, this is going to go. So they don't have a choice but to just go and buy it. So those are the two techniques that we usually use when we are marketing something. And that is what people are using. People are creating that there is a sense of that fear that you might lose out, and if not this, then you're not going to get that, and all of that thing. And then that is how people are making money.
Yes.
Out of people who might not be aware of how things work. But that's again like what it's part and parcel of anything, all forms of marketing. So you will find such people around, and there'll be some people who will burn their fingers and then learn, and there'll be some people who at times and they'll be wise enough to understand it the first time itself.
Yes, correct. All you need to do is just stick to your passion, and of course monetization will happen later. But then there is another category who wants monetization to happen, and then consistent ke bare mein dekha jayega. That will happen later. So the second category is never going to survive. But people need to take this in their minds.
Correct. It isn't going to work.
Never.
Right.
Yes, sir. So it was great talking to you again. So are there any insights further that you would want to share with podcasters like me?
No, see, from a podcasting, and I've seen this during the last year during the pandemic, I saw that there were so many podcasts that started off, and there were some really good podcasts as well. But then people didn't continue, and they just left it after maybe 5, 6, 7 episodes. So the only thing that I would want to tell people is that as in today, you might be starting it with some passion, something because you want to start off with it. But over a period of time, it is usual. And when you have to put in a lot of effort into it, a lot of hard work, you're putting in a lot of time, at some point, you will start to feel a little bit exhausted, a little demotivated, because there is no return that is happening. There is no return on the investment that you're putting in. So it is normal for you to feel exhausted, but you have to find a reason for continuing with it. And what that reason is something that you will have to identify even before you're getting started. If that reason is strong enough to keep pushing you to continue producing what you're as in producing episodes, then you will continue irrespective of what it is. And I can proudly say this about my wife, because almost about 180 episodes. She's the one who writes the content, who creates the recipes, and 180 episodes. A lot of time when we started off, she felt that this isn't something that is giving me returns, and there is a lot of effort because she's running a blog. So when she's running a food blog, she needs to cook. She needs to click pictures. The photograph editing is there, the podcast, then editing the podcast. So there is a lot of things that are there. And it was normal for her to think that, okay, I think I should give up on this. And if it was anybody else in her place, probably they would have given up. But she had a reason why she had started it. And she said, no, okay, let me continue. So you need to find that reason even before you're starting off. And if that reason is strong enough to keep pushing you to do what you're doing, you will continue. But if you don't have that reason, then at that point, when you start to feel exhausted and when you start to question yourself as to what is the return on investment, you will quit. And there is no second thought about it. You will quit. You will, it'll be gradual. You will miss maybe a couple of episodes. Then you will say, okay, let me put one out today. And then you will miss another 3 episodes. And then you will quit. So if you want to continue, and if you want to continue for the long term, you need to find a reason why you want to do it. And then get started, you will. And it is about staying in the game.
Yes.
In all of these forms, money and I don't think that only money is something that you earn when you get into this content, this entire content creation sphere. So there's a lot of other things that you learn, like for example the relationships that we build. So I'm getting to know Revati. I'm able to talk to you, and these kind of relations, I built a lot of relationships on social media just through my podcast. So there are a lot of things that you learn, and these collaborations are something that will help you in the future as well. Yes. So all of those things are there, that will all come, but you have to be there in the long run in the game. Otherwise, it won't work.
Yes, you have to stay in the game. That is the key. And yes, as you said, you have to find the motivation, what drives you to stay in the game.
Right.
So absolutely. For me, frankly speaking, it has been my guess. So the reason why I started podcasting is because I love talking to people.
Right. And
yes,
that is very much evident in the way you talk to people and your conversation. So it is very much evident that conversation is natural for you because you like talking, so it comes naturally. So that way, I agree on what you said. I'm sure that is something that you like doing.
Yes, so I guess I'd be there. I'm here to stay.
Right.
Yes,
I'm sure. Yeah.
Thank you very much again, sir. It was great having you here.
Thanks a lot for inviting me, Revati, and it was very nice. It was fun talking to you and telling you about some of the experiences, and some of these things are things that I haven't really spoken about a lot. So some good questions from you, and it was nice talking to you and nice knowing you and coming on the show.
Thank you. Glad that you like being here, sir. Thank you very much.
Thanks, yeah.
I'm sure for people who are looking to start a podcast or is already into podcasting would have learned and got clarified on several aspects of podcasting today. In fact, I would suggest you share this episode with friends who are eager to learn more about podcasting. Do subscribe to the Wominspiria Podcast and get notified on the latest episodes and learn from your guests and people who you look up to. Please do let me know what was your takeaway from today's episode. And if you want your story or any of your favorite personalities' stories to be featured in Wominspiria, do send me an email to wominspiria@gmail.com. The spelling goes by WOMINSPIRIA@gmail.com. Wominspiria pages can be found in LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. You can also directly message me through these pages. There is a Wominspiria Tamil podcast as well, where you can listen to Tamil inspirational stories. Also, I have a podcast called Shashu and Amma, where I converse with my son about everything under the sun, and you'd love it. Until next time, this is Revati signing off from the Wominspiria Podcast, contagiously inspiring. Be an inspiration and draw inspiration from everywhere around you. Thank you very much.